had planned, but it's holiday weekend, lots of stuff going on, lots of moving. So first I'd like you to take a moment, open or close your eyes, and I want you to, if you're not driving, take in a breath, just notice where you are, don't do anything special, and exhale. However it feels good to you. Take in another deep breath again, feeling into your own field, feeling into your own heart. Having this moment in time, just checking in, checking in. Okay, and one more time, just give yourself a nice squeeze, some love, some acceptance, some balance, some buoyancy. If you need to give yourself what it is that you feel most appropriate right now. Okay, let's begin. It's going to be a short live. So it's raining. It's cooler here today, although it's still going to be in the 50s, which is amazing for Chicago. And so many years ago, when my kids were little, I had this experience. So at that time, when the kids were little, instead of driving into the city and being a part of the community that I had helped be part of and helped build and grow, I had to seek shelter or seek solace or seek that safe place to share community in our open hearts with the diversity. And so I found a spiritual center nearby. And so as one of the great benefits of being a part of any kind of community, and you can see I'm in a parking lot, you shouldn't see anybody. Being a part of a community is amazing, and growing your network and having many supportive networks is really amazing. Sometimes it's through necessity, and sometimes it is, it's not. Sometimes you choose to go plant yourself someplace else. For whatever reason you find in that place, like I did, and there was a book everybody was reading, and see if you can guess what it is, see if you can use your intuition, or you might know because I just said the title of it, but we had purple bracelets, and we were sharing the story of how to use the purple bracelets. Now I was going to look up the date, and I didn't, but I know what kind of van I had, and the kids were probably, I have to guess the littlest ones were 4 and 5 years old, but I left the kids at home, and their dad watched them, and so I could go to the store. And I had read this book, and we were doing a group with it, and I had a bracelet, and I also had a bumper sticker on my Nissan van, navy blue, that we got because we had 2 car seats, and we needed that space. And actually, one of our kids wasn't old enough not to have some kind of booster seat. So 2 car seats and a booster meant that we had to have a van that had that extra row. And I was going grocery shopping, much like I am today, and I had a woman come up to me, and she, like out of nowhere, I'm like, when I'm out shopping, I am like walls up, I'm like closed in, I'm like friendly face, I'm like smiles, but I'm like, I'm there to do a job, get my stuff done. I had this woman approach me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why is she approaching me? And she's just, I can see her mouth moving, I could feel her energy, like anybody could feel that energy. And she was coming at me, and I remember I'm like looking around, like hoping she's talking to someone else. She's talking and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, oh no, don't engage. She comes right up to me, and she is visibly upset. She is saying something to me. I do not know her in any way, shape, or form. So, like, she is yelling at me, and like that's issuing a complaint. She is yelling at me. I have no idea. Then all of a sudden, she starts pointing at my bumper sticker. And I looked at her, and again, I am like in my little bubble. I am not engaging. I was kind of in my car bubble, and now I'm still kind of in my car bubble, but transitioning from the parking lot to the store. Here is this, crazy asteroid coming my way, and I'm thinking, oh my God, how do I get out of this? Because she is like making a beeline for me, and I kind of roll down my bubble window to hear her. Like, what is she saying? And even now, I can see her, I can feel her. I'm not charged. I'm just kind of amazed witnessing that experience now. And basically what she started saying was, you can't live in a complaint-free world. And inside, I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, okay, this woman is issuing a complaint with me like I'm the complaint department because she doesn't like my bumper sticker. Now, if you weren't raised in bumper sticker culture like I was, it may not land as well. But it was pretty ironic that this was like the teens, 2010 and beyond, when this is going on. And it's just, you don't normally get comments about your bumper stickers anymore, you know. So I sat there and I listened to her. I didn't take it in, but I was in a place that I was just like witnessing what she was doing. And she was not going to be stopped. I mean, if I said, wait, you know, blah, 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 or I tried to engage or tried to say anything, like she, as we would say, old school, she was just raring to give me a piece of her mind because I had that bumper sticker, and whatever angst, whatever thing that was going on in her life, like my view of that would be like she had so much pent up and she was not feeling safe in her environment to show up and to share her reactions and her hurts. But here's the stranger with this bumper sticker, apparently open and ready to hear her complaint. And boy, howdy, was she going to do it. So she did. And I had studied metaphysics. It was something that this church was founded in metaphysical principles, but they had not taught the construction and how our thought world, T field, worked. Not as directly as I had learned it. So that day, when she was saying that, something like kind of pinged in me, like ping, ping, wait, this is registering somehow. And what it registered in me is that I learned in my mid-20s that thoughts are not just words, but the words point to an image that we've projected into our field. And even if you don't think you're intuitive or you're not quote-unquote an empath, we are always aware of what to be aware of, what to embrace, and what to run away from. And then a whole bunch of conflicting messages about whether it's safe or not. There's a lot of that like gray area, which I think most of us kind of live in unless we are consciously doing something else. So that day, I literally took the bumper sticker off, took my bracelet off, and I tossed the book into the library slot to donate it, or they could sell it, because I was done. Because that woman really demonstrated to me what she was showing me is by that bumper sticker and that thought. The thought form I had put out there is yes. I had focused on complaint, and she had received my message loud and clear. Complaint department, here I am. Give me your anger. Give me your weariness. Give me any kind of projection you want. And I realized that I knew something that was not at work in this beautiful idea of a complaint framework, which is being mindful about what we say, being aware of, again, like I said, like projection. I do not did not feel, and that's probably why I could engage in that moment. That anger was not really towards me. It was like she had trash that she needed to empty, and I was the receiving vessel, vehicle. I had put something that showed her that's the person to go after, because I'm a stranger, she doesn't know me. It's weird that people feel safe in doing that, but she was like a firecracker just waiting to go off, and somehow I gave her enough of something to spark against in order to set her off. So with that, I said, I'm done with this. So what I wanted to say is, again, let me see if I can hit. I'm going to come around with that one more time because I didn't quite clearly get into what it is. A teaching, you can see it as a hypothesis. I have raised 3 kids into young adulthood, and what I always did with them, because I was very mindful of this, because this is not how I was raised, it was a whole new place to live. But I would tell my children, I didn't want to fill them full of religious beliefs. I didn't want to fill them full of political beliefs. I lived in a family where it's like, open up your brain, let's pour in all this crap, and then you need to be our little robots. And if you're not our little robots, then you're not safe. You can be abused. You can be manipulated. You can be ridiculed. And we do not have to support you mentally, emotionally, financially. So I can talk more about that another time, but that's just kind of where I'm coming from, and a lot of people relate to that this day and time. There's a lot of, I'm a person that celebrates diversity, and for me it's like we have these places where we can come together, the main core values, and there might be other ways in which we live our life or other ways in which we do things, but our core things are aligned and we come together, much like a community garden, much like an orchard, much like people who prefer living in the desert versus people who prefer living in the mountains versus people who prefer living by the ocean, and then people who travel and prefer to not live in one place but many different places. So my diversity is I prefer to live in many different places. There is no one community or culture or belief or lineage that I fully align with. I have spent the majority of my life almost looking for that, and in a way being able to facilitate and to observe and participate in building communities where the ideals come together. So this thing about thoughts is really important to me, because the first thing in coming together is our thoughts. And like this woman demonstrated, I had signaled something in her which signaled her this is a place in which I'm going to just dump and download. And again, I don't think it was an intentional thing. It wasn't like she saw me and there was something about me that she was going after. It was like she was a hurt person, she was wounded, and she was looking to dump this. And a lot of times wounded people connect with other wounded people. It's what I call gossip. It's like you have to tell somebody this negative thing, this horrible thing, then you two get together, and in your minds your images are pouring through and reigniting this pain and this hurt, and you can never let it go. So that's what I get for not putting my phone on Do Not Disturb. But anyway, so here's the idea, again, as a hypothesis, and I wish I had a whiteboard, but it's like a cartoon. That's it, like a cartoon bubble. So a thought is like a cartoon bubble. So it's a cartoon, and they have a bubble over their head, and there is what they're thinking. And then oftentimes the words of what they actually say are written in black, or they're underlined as quoted, right? So that's the thing. So somebody may say, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, this is the last, I just bought carrots. This is the last organic carrots. There's only one bundle. I got here first. And someone comes up behind me and they're like, oh my gosh, I only came here for these organic carrots, and we can't eat anything other than organics, which is like fine with me, but there's one left and I'm about ready to grab it. And they swoop it and they take it and they go, oh, I didn't even see you there. Is it okay? Or I'm sorry, you don't get any carrots, but I do. And I'm really mad. Like I'm here. I was gonna take them, but I didn't grab them because I didn't think it was a competition. I thought I was just picking them up. But I'm thinking, I'm really mad. Now what am I going to do? I don't get organic carrots. But I say, oh no, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Or I go, oh, have them. See if I care. It doesn't really matter. But what I'm thinking and what I'm saying are not the same thing. They're not congruent. They're not in alignment. And this is what can cause some of that charging energy. Because when I was a kid, this happened all the time. lesson, part of my safety, was to realize people will say things and do another. And so I learned, I do listen to what they say because that somehow is important to them, that when they say something, I be able to repeat it back, so they know I heard it. But then I have this other kind of thing going on, which is like, what's really the real deal? What are they really thinking? And it was never in the beginning, it wasn't a words or even images. It was just a feeling, right? And as a kid, I developed an ulcer. So my stomach, or if you use the chakra system, point to that. It was the solar plexus chakra, and it interfered with my digestion. And I developed ulcers when I was 7. And by the time I was 10, no longer had that. But there was a period of time in which things were going on, and my body could not handle that. So this is kind of my long history in that place of being nonverbal and having an awareness that that environment is not always what it seems. Or maybe it was, in my world, my normal was people say things, people do things, and then people act in other ways. So I collected all that information. What are they saying? What's the feeling or the vibration? Is it sensing something in my body? Do I feel safe or not safe? Am I confused or not? Am I safe? And then their actions. Most people say, you should, I said this is what I mean and this is what I say. But again, visibly, their actions, do those actions line up? Is that trustworthy? And is this a relationship in which I can say, I hear what you're saying, but I see you doing something different. If you're a close friend and we care about each other, and I'm reflecting it back without accusation, but I'm being curious, that's a healthy relationship. Another healthy relationship is like somebody saying, I was not aware of that, but I am gonna thank you for sharing that with me, and I'm gonna like look into that later. I will do something with that. I will talk to my therapist about that, but I'm aware of it, and I'm going to look into it at another time, just not now. Again, totally healthy. Another thing that comes up often in relationships and raising kids and in the workplace and everywhere is this idea. I'm thinking, because it just happened today, like there are two different instances. One is like the passive aggressive part, which is somebody suggested, well, if that person isn't doing something, like I've asked somebody maybe to take out the trash or to do the recycling, or someone's taking the trash from their room or their office and putting it into the main dumpster, and everybody has to participate in taking that trash out. So rather than dumping your trash in the home or the central trash, take your trash out to the trash can outside so no one else has to do your work for you. Or put your trash in to the house trash or the main trash and then take that main trash out. That's another option. But what if this person is repeatedly not doing that? So A, are they aware? Yeah, they are aware. B, are they willing to do something different? Well, let's see. They're saying they're doing something different, but their actions are showing that they're not willing to do something different. And then C, are they going to change that? You know, and probably not. Like if somebody said, I know I'm supposed to, I say I'm going to, and I don't do it, and then it becomes a pattern, and then somebody has to step in and be like, hey, you know, hold yourself accountable, or I will hold you accountable. So there's such complexity that goes on. Who knows exactly what's going on? But in that scenario, the only way to really get a change to occur is for somebody to be willing to sit down and go, you know what, I think your rule stinks. I don't see there's any reason why I can't dump my trash into the trash can. Someone's going to take it out anyway. You know, that's their reason, that's their excuse. And they may say, oh, and by the way, you know, I see you don't hold anyone else accountable to that. I see people doing that, you know, all the time, you know, or they may, you know, go to like total defense mechanism, like, well, someone else, you know, throws a piece of paper in there and I throw a little bit, so what does it matter? You know, so they are, you know, argue that. But you're the person, who's quote unquote in charge here, because you have to have somebody in, like in a home situation or a shared home situation or an office situation, you know, fortunately or unfortunately, that is often the role of leadership. The role of leadership is to be the one that has to come in and say, do you know, yes or no? Are you choosing to do it different? You know, are you choosing to go against it, yes or no? And third, what are going to be the consequences? Are there natural consequences that nobody takes out the trash, and so the trash gets higher and higher? You know, is it that that person is going to have to pay? I don't know. Sometimes there's different things different scenarios or different things that could come up. But the idea is it about communication, and it is about being aware of your own thoughts at first, and not trying to guess what someone else is saying, even if you are very accurate in that. There's that part of having somebody say something to you. So when this woman came to me and I did not totally listen to it, but she was complaining to me, totally ironic, that we cannot live in a complaint-free world. So I'll get to the basis and I'll end on this note. And the note is that when you say something, the best and highest, most powerful way and cleanest, most clarity way is at what you intend to say. What is your intention? Is it to bring healing, wholeness, awareness, presence? And through that, what I choose to imagine, because that comes first, I'm imagining this situation in a really good light. I'm playing a mental movie in my mind, screen by screen or video at a time. This is what's going on within my mind, whatever you want to call that inner vision that plays, that inner movie. And now I'm going to choose my words and my actions that align with this movie playing out the way that I intend. So that's my own personal integrity, right? That's your integrity, and only you know that. And once you know that, it's kind of like that to me is my security in a way. It doesn't mean that I'm pushing things out, but it means that who I am at home, who I am in private, who I am in public, that I'm committed to that opportunity to show up who I am, to say what I want. And then sometimes I feel like I call that inner alignment. I call inner alignment is when my intention would just link to a core value like integrity. There might be some kindness in there, but my kindness doesn't override any of my personal boundaries. I'm not afraid to be able to be strong, to be loud, to be factual, if that's what it calls for. I'm not going to stay in that mode. I might say something and be very upset, but then I'm going to be like, okay, I've said it, I've addressed it. So that's what that complaint part is saying, repeating the same thing over and over again and having that message over and over again of something not going your way, not getting what you want, then your words align with not getting what I want, not having what I want, and then your actions, not treating yourself well, not treating others well. Maybe trying to, game the system. It might be I have to take from other people in order to get what I want because I'm not getting it in my life. It may mean, I have to put a stranger on blast who's completely innocent because I'm having to dump all this energy that I have in my life, which I don't have any other safe place to put it, onto the stranger and temporarily makes them feel better. And hopefully that stranger isn't somebody that they're going to meet who's going to hurt them, because they could meet another wounded person who then takes that energy, and the two energies that are negative come together and they hurt each other, right? So being healthy, being whole, being balanced is a continuous job. So a complaint is simply replaying an image over and over of something not working right. So I just want to talk about that in the personal perspective. Now, in the bigger scheme of things, we do not live in a vacuum. Okay? That is like a whiteboard, textboard thing. We are real humans. We have feelings. We don't always do things in our best interest. Sometimes we're acting out of self-preservation, and that may or may not hurt other people. Okay? We are acting in these ways because we're organic and we're living and we're not perfect and we're here, but we are here to be responsible, and we do have free will. And what we do with that free will and what others do with that free will is really important. So, what was I going to say about that? With that said, so when I am interacting with my world, I am interacting with my spouse of 26 years. I am acting with my children who've been around me from 18 to 24 years. Okay, I'm working with my neighbors who I've been in the neighborhood for 26 years, and I've been in my current 2 blocks away from my other neighbors for 11 years. Okay, so what I'm doing and what I'm saying and the choices that I'm making are now meeting what's going on in the neighborhood, what's going on in the environment, what's going on in our police department, political department, our teachers, service providers, what's going on in all these individuals in their lives. So then you can see, like, then that kind of goes out into the next world, into the world, and I interact with other people, and I'm interacting with a lot of other people. And so those kinds of thought forms and that kind of energy that the individuals come in, and you might call that chi, you might call that akasha prana energy moving. So then I'm saying this is what I want, but I might go to the store and I don't get the last bag of carrots, or maybe I go to the store and there's abundance of carrots, right? So that's why we don't live in a vacuum, but it's important to at least set up what we want. And then it's important to say, okay, but I'm flexible, and I'm still wanting this as my choice A, but I'm not going to lose my mind if that doesn't come about. And I know that I'm with other people on the road. And so depending upon whatever is happening during that time, things can go well or not go well. I can walk my dog and have a great time. I can walk my dog and have some neighbors that have dog aggressive dogs, and they're not being mindful with them, and so they're barking at my dog, and so I have to go across the other street because they're not being mindful of their dog and taking their dog the other way. See, so there's that some flexibility. It doesn't mean I've lost anything, but it means that here's my go-to, and if my go-to isn't there, what's the next thing I can do? You know, what's the next thing I can do? And if you take that into a bigger count, it's like you have the most power in your own life. You have the most power in your own home as far as your thoughts, forms, and choices that you're making. You have a neighborhood you're interacting with, and how aligned or how diverse or how together that neighborhood is, the neighborhood structure and the leadership of individuals in that neighborhood. What is that vibe? What is that overall song that your community sings? How is it structured politically? How is the environment taken care of? How's nature taken care of? Is there a great amount and awareness to taking care of nature and nurturing nature, or is there a neighborhood in which there's a great amount of attention paid to chemicals, and chemicals are used in order to make things look good, not necessarily health for nature and for ourselves living in harmony, right? So where am I living? What am I aligning with? How much do I have influence? And that's just your own community. That's just within the couple of blocks or mile circumference around you. Then you've got, for us, Illinois, United States, that we have communities. We live in a village. We live in a county. You know, what is the flavor of the county? And again, how the county takes care of its people. How does it take care of the infrastructure, the roads? Does it provide parks? Does it provide forest preserves? Is it natural bending, or is it doesn't have that as a priority? You might say not interested, but that's like, is that a priority or not a priority? No, other things are priorities. Who are we electing in order to manage and to take those priorities? Do we trust them? Do they say how are they consistent in saying what they do and following that up with their words and their actions? You know, those kinds of things. And beyond that, that goes into the county, which is your next biggest significance. state. And one, again, our governors, our officials, all the heads of every county, are they coming together and help support each other? What happens during a natural disaster? Are there plans? How about are there plans for people to thrive? Are there plans for, like, a big one for us is we have gone from a farming community to a lot of towns and streets. And so there's not the runoff, there's not the viability of the water to be able to move and to cool and to filter where it needs to. So there's laws that are put in place. There's infrastructure that's being built, around our traffic and around our areas so that we can get ahead of those yearly floods, 50-year floods, 100-year floods, 500-year floods, 1,000-year floods. Okay, that kind of thing. So this is kind of how we never live in a bubble, and we're always connected to all these ways. And every step of the way, there's an opportunity to engage and be influenced. Am I going to be a part of am I going to row the boat to move forward and to help and be buoyant and help everyone be buoyant? Or am I going to be rocking the boat? Am I going to be like only trying to serve for myself, even though I'm somebody that's connected obviously to all these parts? So that gets us to the state, and in the states, each one of the states come together for me that make the country. So we're looking at the TV, probably yelling at it, and for one way, shape, or another, either support or against, or just disengaged, right? And so we say, I'm really mad, I can't do anything about this. But then you have to come back into yourself and say, well, what can I do for myself? What can I do to empower myself? And my thoughts are, right, that I'm going to not spend more than I make, that if I have any debt, I'm going to have a plan, I'm going to be consistent in paying that off, and I'm going to know when I'm going to be debt free. I'm going to donate a little bit of money, extra money that I have, intentionally give money because I want money to come back to me. But I have our kids, like what do I have to give to share with other people that I have that isn't going to hurt me? Well, that's a lot of recycling, that's a lot of upscaling, that's a lot of giving away toys that have good use. It's receiving toys that have good use. It's like investing in things for families, especially young, about those that can, do cloth diapers instead of the disposable diapers, right? Renewable, sustainable. But I'm not yelling at people or getting mad at people who don't. I'm looking for ways to help people. I'm looking for the holistic approach to this, right? So I'm walking down the street and I see someone has a bumper sticker, and it's not something that I personally engage in. I'm reading it and I'm having whatever reaction I'm going to have. But if I see someone, I'm not saying, hey, your bumper sticker sucks. How can you believe that? So that's what I wanted to get down to. It probably took a little longer than I thought that it that it would. 333. So much love to you, and I want you to give yourself this moment before you go anyplace else. Take in a deep breath. Fill yourself with what it is that you want, what it is you need in this moment, what it is you want in this moment. If that's fresh air, if that's feeling loved, if it's feeling supported, if it's being heard, if it's not being hurt, if it's the ability to breathe and be who you are, free. Let's just take this moment and give this to ourselves. stepped in to go shopping because someone else was having a really bad day. So I leaned in a little bit, found out that I had a little bit more energy, decided to come early. I knew I wanted to make this tape. I knew I had some things that I wanted to listen to while I was shopping. I had some information I was working on. I wanted to listen to it again and again, so I taped it so I could listen to it. And I was kind of in my own little world, my own little thought field. I wasn't around with everyone else, but I was aware. Be kind and loving. Be generous. Maybe I didn't get those organic carrots, but I did take more than what I probably would have. But there was a moment in which I felt like maybe I shouldn't take as many. And I thought, well, okay, that's an interesting thought. However, here I am. I am welcome to take these carrots and to utilize them and really be aware of what's on the table for me to receive. Instead of just a little bit that I can feel I can operate from as far as that self-love and filling in my well so that it's not empty. How about filling that well up all the way so I have an abundance and I get to enjoy this and that I get to continue to give in ways that are planned and unplanned, but none of that takes me out of balance. And so I will leave you and do something really kind for yourself. Love without boundaries.